Hi guys, we're back here for episode 3 of the Legends Pack experiment on Football Manager 15, where we're going to be looking at the players that have compiled on the shortlist. The current superstars in the game today who are normally on the game have been reset because of the obviously introduction of the legends into the game, into the clubs and stuff. Obviously, you can see a few on the top players. And obviously, we noticed in the last episode, Georgie Best was reigning top of there, but he's slipped down a little bit. Pele climbing up. He's still not moved into Europe, but obviously, it's Pele. He's fantastic. Moving down the list, obviously, we noticed Maradona and Zinedine Zidane have dropped down a bit. Obviously, you can imagine they're going to jumble around a bit, some going up, some going down over the seasons. Obviously, we've noticed Benfica have climbed into the top. Barcelona are actually slipping down on like major clubs in the rankings, really. We're going to be keeping little sections brief here because obviously I want to get into the shortlist. We want to look at some of the history now. It's getting a bit more interesting and see where people have gone, how they've performed in the leagues. So we're going to swift onto the competitions because we've had a World Cup. We'll have a quick look at the league. See, England have actually got back into the top three of league repability. The South American teams, so actually leagues are pushing up in the repability now. So it could be interesting. Some of these guys could be moving to the South American clubs, maybe. You never know in the future of Football Manager. It's a bit random at times. So we're moving to the club competitions here, cup competitions, and the World Cup. What's been held, obviously, since our last episode, it's been won by Spain. And obviously, for those who are a little interested, we'll have a little look at the awards, see how well people did and stuff. And obviously, Michael Owen claiming Player of the tournament. And I'll flip through the screens, and you guys can obviously have a look. And I won't go into too much detail. Franco, Croatia doing quite well. He's available on a free transfer now. If I was playing the game, I think I'd be trying to snap him up if I needed a keeper because he's pretty awesome. Issue there. There we go. Michael Owen there claiming Young Player of the Year as well as Player of the Tournament. We'll go on to the Dream Team last, I think, and we'll go Golden Boot and Cantona getting it. Michael Owen getting second and Crespo. Look at the team of the tournament. A Dream Team of the tournament. Cantona Owen up front. They're obviously the host of Legends. There's no current superstars in the first national teams at the moment. Hopefully in the future, and that's one thing we're going to be looking at is if these guys are going to break into the national teams, be able to get into these rankings on international levels and stuff. And obviously, if you know your football, obviously different ages will recognise different names. Other household names here. We've got obviously Bobby Moore, Herman Crespo, Billy Bremer. Owen Cantona, obviously they've been doing really well this tournament. Alan Hansen, back playing football rather than commentating on the game. Really good centre back. Now, obviously, I said I'm going to keep these sections a bit brief so we can get onto the shortlist, and we'll have a quick look at who's won the Ballon d'Or over the last couple of seasons. So obviously, Georgie Best was dominating that. Obviously, he's not got it in 17. Ronaldinho, pipping him, he's got second, so he's still up there. He's still challenging for the best player in Europe. And obviously we've got a guy from PSV here. Obviously he's a Hungarian legend. Zoltan Kazibar. Sorry about my pronunciations on some of these names. I'm a bit terrible with the foreign-based ones. Obviously Joy Best again to get in second, so he's still one of the top players in the in European football. We'll get swiftly onto the Premier League then, and we'll have a look at who's won the league the last couple of seasons. If I remember rightly, in the last season we saw, United had won it, and it's been a bit of a tussle between United and Liverpool at the top of the table. I think it was 16-17 we last looked. So we'll recap, yeah, it was United, Leeds getting second, Liverpool actually dropping off that season. But obviously we've noticed in the games, the top bracket, there's been quite a lot of the teams that we expect to be up there, and I've got all them legends in the squads. Obviously, these guys are going to struggle. But we'll go to the seasons we haven't seen yet. So, 17, Liverpool pipping them by 3 points to the top. It's tight, but I think not getting as many goals as they did in the previous seasons. Leeds obviously still up in that top four. Champions League football for them. Second Liverpool walked it by 10 points, really. Got the goals. United still second. You know, I noticed in the last episode I didn't really look at the awards. Some people might find this quite interesting. Obviously, we're going to have a quick little go through the awards sort of thing, and obviously Footballer of the Year since we started, really, Beckham getting the first year, and then Georgie Best getting the last 4 years. And we could probably see why he's getting the Ballon d'Or, and he's up there as top player. Golden Glove, if anyone's interested. Obviously, Schmeichel, Pedicek is reset, so he's 22 now, and obviously he's Chelsea, as you'd expect, solid defence always from there. Ray Clements getting it in this season just gone. Manager of the year, it's obviously a tussle between Ferguson and Paisley since we've added the legends. Paisley obviously getting the last 2 years with Liverpool winning the league. Player of the year, Kenny Dalglish, Liverpool legend. Obviously went back to manage him in real life a couple of tight spells. Some of these guys, the stats are just absolutely ridiculous. So I don't even think I've had regens and you know come through with stats like this. And we'll save the team of the year for last. We'll flip through them and see who's been breaking in. I've just noticed here, Dennis Law got it the first season. Wilfred Bonny's not reset. He's 30s, early 30s now. He's actually managed to pip some of these legends to the top goal scorer. And as we've noticed in the previous episodes, Zlatan, he's moved to Stoke and he's been making quite a name for himself there at Stoke. He's actually making a name for himself in the Premier League by winning the top goal scorer twice. And Paolo Rossi getting it in between him, unfortunately. So as we said, these guys are going to get the stats that they've got in the game without the Legends pack. Eventually, and you know, and it's going to be interesting to see if they can challenge the icons for figures. As we can see here, Zlatan is doing it at Stoke. He's obviously one of the first choice strikers. We'll have a quick scroll through the team, the young player. We'll have a quick Stanley Matthews, Eddie Gray of Leeds, getting it a few years on their own. Kenny Dalglish. The team of the year, we'll pop back to the first season. And obviously, we can see there it's dominated by United players, really. A couple of Liverpool guys getting in there. Sanson from Arsenal. We'll skip through and have a little. Body actually make it in. He obviously got the top goal scorer that season, so he's one of the players that hasn't reset or he's not a legend, and he's still pushing in there for a top player in that league. Zlatan, obviously one of the first. He got top goal scorer that year. You know, Company, not a player who's not reset as well, pushing in there for as well, getting on the legends in that top bracket of top players in England. Obviously, Zlatan getting in again there. He's obviously performing really well in the Premier League and all seasons at the end. We'll have a little pop up to Scotland, see if Rangers have managed to knock Celtic off the top, because if the last episodes, Celtic have really just been top of the table since we've started this experiment. And obviously, we'll have a little look at the stages here. 16, as I said, Celtic have won every year. Rangers right up behind them since they've come back into the Scottish Premiership. We'll go into the seasons we haven't seen yet. Again, Celtic just they're 9 points ahead of them. Rangers can't quite. They haven't seemed to quite got it to take them. And obviously, last season they were trailing behind, and Celtic look like they are just dominating it. Rangers, even with the legends that they've got, can't quite catch Celtic up really on performances and stuff. And we'll have a quick pop at the Champions League, obviously. And have a look at past winners. So as you noticed, last time we looked at it was Barcelona and Man United. Now it's into Chelsea. So the English clubs have been getting into the later stages. Obviously, that's helped them the reputability of the league and pushed it on. Obviously, Holland actually getting another team into the finals. Obviously, Ajax winning it in the first season of the experiment. Yeah, it's looking good. We'll get onto the short list. What we really wanted to, what's this experiment's about, keeping track of these players. I'm trying to keep these sections brief so it gives us a bit more time now to have a look at the history, see where people have gone, if they've been a bit of a nomad at the start of their careers, sort of potted around. Cycle up to the top of the list. has been not much movement for these guys over, so far. And Danny had moved to PSV in the last episode, and he's obviously still there. No real major. Ivanovic, he's still at the club that he started at. He's been there a couple of seasons. No, actually, he's moved. He's stayed in the same league, moved, and then gone back for a little less money. So whether they got relegated or something, you don't know. Or he didn't get Champions League football, and he moaned and moved. Honda, maybe not everyone knows him. If you play Football Manager, you might have signed him in the past. So he's a good midfielder to have. Look at his career here. He's been to Italy so far. He's now moved to Spain, and he's been playing a big part role. He's average. Say the next episode, hopefully some of these guys will really kicking on. Walter Samuel, surprised he's not getting snapped up by a big European team, but obviously the reputability of the South American teams has grown. Oscar seems to have switched allegiances in Brazil. Yeah, he's gone from Intercontinental Botafogo now to Santos. He's grown in transfer fee, grown in performances. Had a really good season in his last season, despite only making 11 appearances. But he's been obviously a substitute, a bit part player here at Santos, developing in. Still young, he's getting good ratings. Like Florento Loriente, last time we looked, he was actually United. He's gone back to Bilbao. So have a look what happened there. He went to United, obviously, got a low transfer fee, didn't actually play a game, got loads of QPR and they got relegated. Banged some goals in there, got snapped up by his former club for 20 million. And yeah, just good, almost a £20 million profit there from Fergie. So good willing dealing him, what we expect from Sir Alex. Sergio Aguero settled down in Brazil. He was unsettled last time we had a look. Ivan Rakitic actually almost scrolled past him. He was at Notts Forest last time we looked. He started move there into the Premier League. So he got some game time. Had average seasons there and made a little profit on him. He didn't play many games last season, but it's Spain. They like to develop the youngsters. But maybe played in the Castle a little bit more. That just shows the league performances. I think the Ajax guys obviously some of them available for loan there. See Neymar now. Neymar at Ajax. Interesting move from Neymar moving to Holland. Obviously their reputability. Ajax winning the Champions League in the first season. Picked him up quite nice. He's been playing a bit part role really. Get some decent ratings, even though he's not been playing much. No, Lionel Messi's still here. Lionel Messi, people, is leaving to join Arsenal. This is what the experiment's all about, seeing what happens to these players. We'll have a look at see what happened. He's not even getting into the Barca squad really. He's played 2 appearances, played 1 goal. You know, he's still an awesome player. So why is he not getting in the Barca squad? I don't know. Obviously, I'm not going to go through every single squad because they are full of legends. Obviously you've seen they've got Ronaldinho, they've got Landrup. That's a brilliant move for Arsenal, really. Everyone's always wanted to see Messi in the Premier League in this alternative world. We're going to get to see that. The next episode, we'll see if he's actually been playing games, how well he's been getting on in the Premier League. Is he going to be physical enough for it? Tony Valencia, I'm pretty sure in the last episode he'd moved to QPR. Obviously, Ajax are snapping up the talent. They've got Rio Fernandez, as we saw in the last episode. He signed for QPR a couple of seasons there. Didn't play too well. Got snapped up by Ajax's second team. Average for them. He's been moved into the first team now. Quintario, we sort of went to Sporting where he's in real life, and now he's gone back. He's gone to River now, so he's potting around a bit. Palacio, he's gone and joined Higuain there at Southampton. He's I signed him a few seasons ago. They're obviously in the Championship, so I imagine he'll be getting some game time down there, with banging goals in. Rojo, his verdict's still out on him in real life. He's still a young player centre back. I don't like to judge a centre back till they get a bit older, get that experience on the pitch in real life. But in the game, he's always been a decent player. He's obviously moved to Marseille now. Cassano, who's moved to United in the last episode, is now in Turkey. Besiktas. He never played for United. Read out a load of didn't really play much. Got a really poor rating. He's not had a great first season. It's been a bit average, but he's joined them on a free transfer for United. I think there are a couple of seasons. Tottenham look like they've securing their fullbacks here in Stephen Warnock. Obviously, I think he starts at Liverpool. Yeah, never really broke into the first team there, and he's not really breaking in at Tottenham at the minute. It's why he's unsettled. And again, Flanagan, if you play the game, he's always, he's not really, he's still young in real life, and he still can crack on. He's starting to pick up a bit in real life. He's always been a good fullback on the game. He's now at Tottenham. Liverpool letting a few of the youngsters go because of the abundance of legends that they've got. Shinji Kagawa, everyone knows, some people know from United. Obviously, Dortmund, if you play Football Manager, he was always a good signing in past games. He's been a few places, mainly a few loan deals to Italy, loan to France. Now he's found his trade in Germany. That's where he really he's made his name for himself in the German leagues at Dortmund, though in real life at Glenabacci now in this alternative world. We looked at Armfield and Finney, I think, in the last episode, and where they'd gone, and see Finney leaving now, and he's moving on from Preston. He's actually going to Italy. Preston, they made it into the Championship, but didn't quite get there. Got relegated, and obviously now he's leaving. He was Mr. Consistency for him. So he's gone on to bigger and better things. Again with Jimmy Armfield, you know, started at Blackpool, obviously in lots of trouble, and we were kind of hoping he could build around him, but they lost all their players after the first season. Obviously, didn't have the finances. He played well for them. Obviously, he went down to League One. Smashed it in League One, and now he's in the top division of German football. Obviously noticed in the last episode, Fernando Torres was on his way to Arsenal. Hernandez was actually in France last time we looked, I think it was, and now he's gone back to Brazil. Brazil snapping up some players. He had a few seasons there, didn't really break in to the first team. Mascherano joined Porto in the last episode, and now he's at Monaco. He's been there a couple of seasons now. Well, after this one, Made, they're making a nice profit on him. Didn't really play overly great for them. He was quite young at the time, so 21 now, so he's been 18. Savio, obviously everyone knows him from football. I think he's been at Olympiacos for a little bit now in the game. He's been picking up performances now since his 6 million transfer fee from River. Obviously, he did quite well at River. He was doing well for them. Jordan Henderson, he's now at Southampton. Someone's coming in for Oxlade-Chamberlain, so they're losing the youngsters already. Chelsea, Newcastle also interested in Leeds, but Chelsea obviously making a bid for the youngster. Ashley Young, obviously people, Villa fans and United fans know him, and everyone in English football really knows him. He's started at Watford, he's still there in the game. Phil Jones, he's left Blackburn and he moved to QPR last season for 5 million. Played fairly average for him. Cristiano Ronaldo, actually, he's still at Sporting Lisbon. He isn't settled there now. Has he been getting some game time? He's been playing a little bit power player, average ratings. I'd like to see him getting more game time. Hopefully he's unsettled. He could force a move to a club that's going to play him. See if he can become one of the top talents in the game later on, like he's in real life, in a game normally. As with Fellaini, he's left Everton. Obviously, he went there in real life. He's gone there in the alternative world, at a young age, and he had a couple of poorish seasons there. He's moved on to Lazio, where he's been playing a bit part role. He's moving around a bit. This is what the experiments we're going to see where these guys are going. Mainly, hopefully, in the later episodes, they're going to start breaking into the international scenes. We'll be able to see in like the international competitions and maybe get into the play, the dream teams and stuff, and That's what this experiment's about. These first few episodes is, well, they're looking where they move. Maybe seeing a couple of guys like Ivanovic, and I've taken a look at Zoltan Ibrahimovic quite a bit. We'll follow their careers. Zoltan's been doing quite well by the look of things in the Premier League. Berbatov is another striker who's moved over to the Premier League at a young age. We'll have a look at his career stats. He's doing okay for Stoke there. He's started to get the goals. He dropped to the Championship, banged some in down there, come back up, and he's been getting the goals there. So he's developing nicely for Stoke. He's a he's a top striker. Love him or hate him, you know. Obviously Snyder, he's left Ajax. He's moved on to Monaco. Now he's unsettled and he's wanted by clubs. Jose Enrique, he's left Arsenal and he's gone now to Italy. See, did he leave? Oh, no, they made a nice profit off him. He went to Montpellier in France and they got a few games. They got a good average rating and Wenger's made a nice little profit off him. I think we noticed in the last episode that Vidic had moved to Chelsea. So the future of their defence is looking very sturdy. With Terry and Vidic going to be there, really could form a real formidable defence. Obviously, you noticed in the Golden Glove that Czech's been keeping his clean sheet, so that means they've already got a very sturdy defence, and it can only get better. And Pirlo, another big name in football, he's still over there in France. Daniel Rossi, who's never actually left, he's never left Roma in real life. He's been there sort of gigs, as to say, over there in Italy. He's actually left and gone to Napoli. Quite a nice fee there. He's done well. He's been getting the team. Obviously, he's backup rotation player. I'm quite interested to see how Higuain's been getting on at Southampton. You know, Zoltan's been doing quite well. He's been getting the goals. He's been a bit average. Obviously, hopefully he can pick up. Obviously, some players will have great first part of their careers and maybe dip off at the ends and might be a bit slow at the start and start picking up when they move club. In the last episode, Tevez had gone to Sporting, and now he's leaving Sporting after a couple of seasons and moving to Feyenoord in the Dutch club. He's been at Sporting a few seasons now. He's not really broke into the first team. He's been given a couple of games, I imagine, in cups or something when there's been an injury. It's a shame. He's a top player. He's got really good stats, as you can imagine, and he's going to go on. Pablo Amir moving to AC Milan. Macon, he's still knocking around at Benfica. He's been there a while now since last episode. Again, Hamsik, he moved to Leon quite early in his career, and he's still there. Skirtle actually going to Chelsea, so they've got them Skirtle, Vidic, and Terry, who are all probably 20. So they've got a defence for the future. And obviously, I quite like my strikers, so I like looking at the goals. And Suarez, he's a monster up front in real life, and he's really kicked on at Barcelona now. His band's over and he's settled in there. And obviously, we'll have a look at how he's getting on in France, and he's banging the goals in there in France. I'm not surprised someone bigger might come knocking for him soon, and maybe the next episode see him at a big club. Cavani, I'm sure he was at a Dutch club last time we looked at him. Yeah, he's gone to Ajax. Played a couple of games. He played 3 games, got an 8.3 rating, and then got sold for quite a hefty profit there. So some of these managers really cashing in on the wheeling and dealing of these reset players. James Rodriguez, I thought we were going to see him in Europe. We'll have a quick look at his history. He did come to France, got brought straight back by Botafogo, loaned back to France, and then he's rejoined them, and hopefully he can get into their first team. He's in the reserves, I just noticed. Freddie Guerin, he's now in France. Song's left Bastille, gone to Marseille. Not a really big move, just moving into France, but could be moving into bigger things. Tries now has snapped at Frank Ribery, but obviously Marseille might be a bit higher up ability. He's unsettled there though. So look where we could possibly end up after this next transfer window. See big clubs after him. Munich not really probably needing to buy anyone at the moment. Olivier Giroud, he's moved to West Ham, another good signing for them really. Good youngster. And Nelka, he's available on a free transfer. Good striker. Again, people have mixed opinions of him, but he's nomad in real life. Got a good record everywhere he's gone. He's stayed at PSV. He's not really got into the first team. He's got some goals in uh, previous seasons in the reserves. And guess when he moved to Arsenal, he's obviously still there. We'll have a quick gander, see what he's been up to. He's not got into the first team. He played some games in the first season. Got in at all. Obviously been playing reserve team football. He's in settled and available for loan at the minute. Vidal, we saw in the last episode. We'll have a good look. We'll have a look at Vidal's history because he's obviously getting in the first team at United. And as you can see, he's playing some games and he's getting the ratings. He's getting goals in his first season and assists in his second season. So wherever he's been and since the start, he's played well. You can imagine he's a top one of the best midfielders on the game normally without the legends. RVP old Robin van Persie. He's actually at West Ham. We'll have a quick look, see how much they paid for him and stuff, and they actually got him for free. He weren't very much getting into the Ferranoid team. Obviously, they might have some pretty good legends there. He's done quite well in his first season for a youngster. He's for a free player anyway. Obviously, he's got this season. He could probably crack on and build on that and make his name for himself at another London club other than Arsenal. I imagine some bigger club might come knocking on him in a few years. There's some German guys now are still at Munich. I think Mertesacker has moved. He's still in Germany, but no, he's gone to Hanover to Cologne. Lucas Anderson, I believe he moved to Austria in the last video we made, and now he's at Newcastle. A very poor first season. He did quite well for Salzburg in the first team. After a couple of seasons in the second, doing all right for the second team. Modric still and Mandzukic still in their starting clubs in Croatia. Looking quite good, quite good. Alba, he's left Hull. They've been relegated, so he spent a couple of seasons in the Championship. He's developing. He's normally one of the best left backs in the game. I imagine he'll probably get into the Austria squad a bit later in his career. He hasn't got the youth system behind him as he did at Munich, so it'd be interesting to see if he can really get to that full potential that we know of him in the game. Rosicki here, he's at United rather than Arsenal. So obviously, some of these guys signed for the rivals of the clubs they actually played for in real life. He's not actually played for United. Obviously, they've got a quality first team, but he's probably not going to get in. And he's unsettled. He's available for loan. He's wanted. Look, he's wanted. I think they've wanted on a permanent deal by a few clubs. So we'll have a little look at Zlatan in a second. Ramsey getting into QPR, so they're snapping up a couple of the guys. They've got Sterling still, I believe. I think he's on the list. We'll see in a little bit. We'll see if he's still there. And I'd say getting Joe Allard, strength of that midfield. Obviously, he with Vidal. So he's looking for the future, strengthening quite well. I'd like to see them getting some more attackers into these. Maybe these young guys, they attack. I think they're signing a legend, maybe. Obviously, I don't want to get into the transfers and everything too much because we really want to look at these guys and where they're going and where they're ending up and how they're getting on, whether they're getting into the international teams and stuff later on in the series. We'll look at Zlatan. We already know he's got top goal scorer. A couple of seasons he's broke into the. He's made an appearance for Sweden already and got his first goal. Look at his career stats since coming to Stoke, and he's been Mr. Consistent with the goals. No wonder he's challenging for the top goal scorer, and he's breaking into that team of the year. Shaven again, joining rivals of a club he joined in real life, joining Chelsea. Fletcher, I don't know if you saw him in the last episode. He's actually gone to Tottenham now. Look, I'm not sure if he did. Yeah, we might have seen that in the last episode. Liechtenstein, I think, the last episode was Inter Milan. So we'll have a quick look at his history. He's potted around Italy a little bit in his start of his career. He's now moved on to France. See if he can kick on and make a name for himself there. Noticed I've found Angel Di Maria, who'd reset back in Argentina. Now he's at Man City. A little look at history. Obviously, Angel Di Maria, he made a name for himself at Benfica, went on to Real Madrid, where he really kicked on his career, brought by United. He actually went to Benfica on this before Man City snapped him up. Benfica making a nice profit on him here. He's not done too well for you. Man City's still young, obviously. He's adapting to the Premier League. He might kick on. He's played probably a substitute role, a bit part role in the last season. He didn't play too much for Benfica, but again, another team with a host of legends, so they probably want to develop him. But with the stats these guys have got, I'd imagine if they go to the bigger clubs, they are going to kick up a fuss if they're not getting the first two football. Even Robbie Keane here, he's happy, he's very flow. We noticed in the earlier episode, he got Villa on load. So, these guys, will get to interesting movement. And obviously, we've noticed that, Zlatan Ibrahimovic is developing really nicely. He's obviously getting the game time at Stoke and stuff. And so it'd be interesting on who's going to, some guys, the stats are going to change over time if they're not getting the game time. Like Ronaldo could, he could stagnate at Sporting being a backup player and probably not fill his full potential in the game. Some of these guys at Barca might struggle to break into the first team and maybe not feel their full potential. Whereas if they get moved to clubs, smaller clubs, what are going to play them more, they'll develop better, as we've seen with Zlatan already. And we'll get kicking on to the next episode and see what happens. See some guys already potting around like Fellaini. He's gone to Everton where he went in real life. Now he's in Napoli. He's not getting it. Sorry, Lazio, and he's not getting in there. There's even Marlin actually. I didn't notice before. He's left Ajax, I think, where he starts, and he's moved on to Napoli. So the Italian clubs snapping up this young talent, and we'll get on and we'll find out what happens in the next episode.